I want to give you a little bit of background on how this book came about. And it really, once I actually sat down and started writing it, it went kind of quickly because all I was doing was just writing things that I've experienced or thought about for years. But one of my favorite things that made its way into this book and really kind of was one of the ideas for it was adding Getty. Wendy, she was over there. I don't know if you were cheering me on or cheering the kids on, because if they beat me in foosball, they got to go see Miss Wendy and get some food for free. So there was some stakes involved, and so I would spot them some points, and I'd be playing against them, and I'd engage in just a little, very friendly trash talk, trying to get them off their game. And one day I'm playing against a 6th grader and an 8th grader, and I'm kind of razzing them a little bit. And the 6th grader, he's looking right down at the table, and he's not gonna budge. And he says, he goes, "Nice try, Pastor." And the 8th grader stops in the middle of the play and looks at him and says, "Did you just call him Pasture?" and he said, "Yeah." And he goes, "He's not a cow?" Well, as I started talking with this young man later, I found out he had never been around a church setting, did not really have a frame of reference that a pastor would be the leader of a church. And so he's just mimicking a sound that he was hearing. He's hearing these kids say something to me, and it sounds like pasture in his mind, and so that's what he started calling me. So one of the things that I've noticed, though, is that it's not limited to 6th graders and kind of unusual names. That many of us, we hear something and it just becomes ingrained and we just start with it. So one of the things that I will experience frequently is somebody will say, "Hey, how's your church going in Cedar Springs?" And almost before I can answer the question, their follow-up question is, "How many are you running on Sunday morning?" Okay. In their mind, that is the measure of success. And so I used to answer the question with a straight answer, but after a while I started saying, "What if I said 300? And they get ready to start smiling, and before they can go anywhere else, I said, "What if I said 20? And they're, "Well, which is it?" I said, "Well, let me clarify. What if I said 300 that only showed up on Sunday morning, and I never saw them again the rest of the week? Or what if I said 20 that not only showed up on Sunday morning, but I saw them throughout the whole week, engaged in their community, living out the practices that they were learning and living out those values? Which do you think you'd like to have?" And they're like, "Well, the 20. I said, "So then why are you asking how many people are showing up on Sunday morning?" And so it was my editor, as I was working on this book, I actually started off, my first title, or the thought that I had in my mind when I was writing this book, was servant leadership. But as I began to think it through a little bit more, I really liked the idea of a shepherd, what a shepherd does, because sheep don't really care about organizational flowcharts and nice, neat things. In fact, if you've never been around a pasture, literally a sheep pasture, it's a messy place to be, right? And but the shepherd's job is to get the sheep to the spot where they're going to be healthy. But my editor is the one that came up with the subtitle to this book, "The Metrics That Really Matter." What is it that we're really counting? What are we measuring that we would term as successful? Or, in my case, I would say, let's go back to, if you're pastoring a church, I go back to the Bible. What does the Bible say is a measure of success? And I'm really grateful that I don't see anywhere in there like, the Apostle Paul writing down, if your church is growing at 8.7% per year, then your church is successful. And if it's not, then there's problems. There's no discussion about that at all, but there is a lot of discussion about not the quantitative measures, but the qualitative measures. What quality is taking place? And so